Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, purity. We, as a people of a filthy earth, are overly concerned with cleanliness and cleansing. We want washed souls, bleached sheets, and a new car smell in a 30-year-old station wagon. We believe new is best, and that old means antique and stinkiness and ill-functioning. Our newest products are built with drop-dead dates, so they don't become too old without enough speed and efficiency. By building deliberate obsolescence into our products, we renew the covenant of the business mandate, and we are always replacing what is lost and broken. We can't have an ounce of bacteria anywhere. We cleanse our hands with purifiers that will rebuff any tiny microbe without really saving us from anything. We ionize our air. We smoke smokeless cigarettes. A mist, a fog, a vapor of whatever. And yet, we're still filthy and unclean of mind, of soul, of function. We are actively and repeatedly losing our virginity as beings and losing all faith. Our thoughts are impure. Pornography is more popular than football and church and politics, and even real-time sex with another person is not as popular as online pornography. And so we are left to stew in the filthy remnant of a purity that never was and is impossible to keep. What to do? We want to be good, and we are bad. We want to be pure, and yet we are polluted. We want to be right, and we are violated. We cannot regain what we have disheveled. What we want is impossible to maintain and retain, even in memory. We try to cleanse ourselves through grace and ritual and acts and belief, briny guilt and salty tears. But a religious or metaphysical cleansing is not what we need. What is required is a whole restarting in the mind of who we think we are. And we are our mistakes. But is anything removable from the us of us? Plato didn't think so. In his theory of forms, he said this of purity:
no form can have contrary properties.
To be pure, you must already be pure. None of this stops the impure of us from still trying to reimagine lives in purity. Purity is big business. There is money in the cleansing. The churches are deeply and routinely involved in purity cleansings. The gospel is filled with ritualistic cleansings through tears and blood and death and belief. And you too can become pure again by merely arriving in a pew and making a Sunday donation to the till, and they'll do the rest. Sit back, relax, and let Jesus do the rest on your dime. This week, then we'll have to start all over again next Sunday. Political purification is another uneasy bottle of toxins. You can run for office and lose, and then later claim, hey, you're changed, and the world misunderstood you before when you were a loser. And you are now all different and ready for a new challenge because you're clean and ready to go. The most interesting, and perhaps dismaying, ongoing invocation of purity is in sexuality. And the new methods of reunification of the virgin in the virgin vow, and the emerging essence of what it means to reproduce. There are some women in the world who had sex prematurely, regret it, and now wish to wed as a virgin. In some cultures, you just declare yourself a virgin and you move right on. But in other cultures, that claimed virginity must be vetted and verified by a medical professional. And if the woman fails that test for any reason, usually by the discovery of a broken hymen, then that woman is sullied in the eyes of her betrothed, and she is not marriable material. So those women who have the right connections hire a plastic surgeon to recreate what looks like an intact hymen that doesn't appear to be broken, so the woman may later pass the marriage inspection by the doctor of her hoped-for future husband. The purity scheme is fascinating on many fronts because it is all theater and all generally false, with everyone in the room knowing the hymen check is more about pageantry than purity. The woman knows she is not pure as defined by other people, and so does her plastic surgeon, and so too does her intended, and so too does his attending doctor. But the cultural ritual takes precedence over the truth, and all the players must know their lines and their roles and play the part assigned to them. And in the end, the woman's hymen will be broken, again this time, by her husband on their wedding night, and not the boyfriend or the dildo or the tampon or the finger or the whatever. And the world will remain a right, bright, and pure place on earth. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but no men have to take this virginity test. Now, there are some societies in the world where prepubescent girls are routinely checked for this hymen translucence. And if there is no intact hymen discovered upon inspection, those girls are punished or even killed. And the fact that some women and girls are virgins and have never even had a hymen doesn't matter, because that explanation of a missing hymen is one of an impure devil, and not based on religious fact, so think some men. And so, the plastic surgeon is called in on the quiet to solemnly replace or repair a missing or broken hymen, all in dire order to save the lives of those girls who are ripe for traumatization by their society that values genital membranes over the wholeness of the woman. It is only the husband of the virgin who can sully the purity. For a woman is only pure one time in her life, the theory goes. And that gift of cleanliness and virginity and virtue and promise is something that expires the moment she is made impure again by the graphic touching of her husband. For if she were able to remain pure and intact during her marriage, there would never need to be a future need to question the purity of her genitals. Thank you for listening. Be a human me.